All right, so here's what happened. Nancy Pelosi ripped up the State of the Union address. Why? We'll talk about that later. But the first 3 points that my family and I had put together to talk about is how, in the aftermath of this big rip, people are behaving and what people are talking about and how they're trying to digest it or rationalize it. Instead of saying that Nancy Pelosi messed up, coming out straight, they have this backdoor way of admitting that she messed up without admitting it. They're saying the videos that are floating around about her ripping it must have been doctored or fake in some kind of way. So what are they really saying is the video must be fake because the act of ripping is really bad. And we know Nancy's not that bad of a person, so it must be a fake video. Anyway, chew on that if you want to for a little while.
Look at your screen. Pelosi actually was like pre-ripping each of the pages so that she actually took the time to prep the rip. And she planned the whole thing, obviously. And as you can see here, she even tested the ripped ability of the document during the speech. Look at this right there. Oh, I guess we know why Petty Pelosi was so distracted. And it was weird and distracting and mumbling. And I'm like, okay, I gotta not focus on that part of the show.
Nancy's daughter, she said that her mom was just being, the act of ripping was an Italian grandma move.
All right. Here now exclusively Christine Pelosi, the daughter of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and the author of The Nancy Pelosi Way. Christine, thank you for being here tonight. I think, first of all, I just want to get your reaction when you saw the speaker rip up those pages very intentionally, 1, 2, 3 in front of the cameras. What was your reaction? Did you know she was going to do that?
No idea she was going to do that. I think Nancy Pelosi is a wonderful person. I know she prays daily, including for the president, including for the country, as we've talked before. And in watching that, her reaction to that speech, I thought to myself, that's an Italian grandma move.
And, they're trying to make it cute, like she's a sort of hot-headed Italian elderly woman who, who's just keeping it real, right? And so, that makes Nancy cute, right? That makes Nancy cute and lovable, just like everybody who has cantankerous, ornery grandparents whom we love, right? So, trying to spin it as if Nancy Pelosi is, just a lovable little document ripper. Oh, she's so lovable. Remind me when Scooter Libby walks out of the National Archives with the documents that show whether or not the Clintons erected the wall between the intelligence agencies that allowed 9/11 to basically go without interventions being made prior to the Twin Towers being attacked, right? So there was a wall which didn't allow the intelligence agencies to compare notes, and if this wall hadn't been there, so the Clintons didn't want to be blamed for institutionalizing the wall, and they had Sandy Berger go in the National Archives, and he stole those documents that proved or pointed to whether or not the wall was instituted by the Clintons, and those documents just disappeared. So nobody could pin the wall to the Clintons' record, and that's why Hillary Clinton remained a viable candidate, because she had no dirt on her, because Sandy Berger walks out with the evidence. So when Sandy Berger got caught with the evidence, they just said, oh, he's just being sloppy. Democrats, whenever their own gets caught flat out caught, they try to make it cute. They say, oh, it's just sloppy. So right now, Nancy Pelosi's just being a hot-headed grandma, Italian grandma. That's all. It's nothing really serious. When asked, Nancy Pelosi said that her act of ripping up the document was the most courteous thing that she could think to do.
That's Italian grandma. Well, I thought it was an Italian grandma move. I think that's.
So she said it was the most courteous thing that she said it was. Let me ask you, the most courteous thing I could do. She said, given my other exuberances. What did she mean? What were her other exuberances? What would have been worse than that?
Now the narrative here is Trump is so bad, and everything that oozes from Trump's administration and from Trump's mouth is so unbearable. Of course, that's not true. You can look at the benefits that most Americans are feeling. The joblessness is at all-time low for blacks, Hispanics, you name it, women, blah, blah, blah. Stock market's doing really well. Anybody's got a 401k is seeing that it just keeps growing. So try to tell people who live in Realville that, the guy is so crappy and everything that he said in that beautiful State of the Union address was so terrible that the most respectful thing to do is to rip it, as if there were more grotesque things warranted by Trump's terrible State of the Union address and his terrible performance. No, this idea of Trump's terrible performance is just a fiction that justifies the pushback, the nasty types of pushback. So the nastier they get caught in their pushback attempts, the more they have to say that they were triggered by Trump's nastiness. So Trump's nastiness is always the excuse for their nastiness. Although their nastiness is on video, their nastiness, you had actually Joe Biden proving that he used connections to protect his son. Their dirt is actually real dirt. And like I said before, being anti-Trump is more about changing the subject away from the real dirt that the Democrats did. This is a freaking game that they're playing. I'm like, everybody can see through it now. It was one of the most beautiful State of Union addresses. And Nancy Pelosi has got to rip it up. And somebody who sees that and whose mind is not sound is going to say, ooh, she must have had a really good reason to rip it up. And they're going to fill in the blank with some crazy anti-Trump. Look, everybody's tired of this. Everybody's tired of this. Nobody can believe the Democrats anymore. And the Democrats are in decline. Their party's in decline. More people left the Democrat Party after watching Nancy Pelosi rip up the State of the Union address. You had people calling in the talk shows this week talking about how I'm never going to vote for a Democrat again. I am never going to vote for a Democrat again. As payback to Nancy Pelosi for what she had done.
Teach you to ride your first bike, build your first sandbox, watch you play sports, and see you have kids also. I love you, son. Take care of your mother. I am always with you, Daddy. On Easter Sunday of 2008, Chris was out on patrol in Baghdad when his Bradley fighting vehicle was hit by a roadside bomb. That night, he made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. To Kelly and Gage, Chris will live in our hearts forever. He is looking down on you now. Thank you.
Because Trump had some of the most beautiful stories showcased in the State of the Union address. Okay, you had the Tuskegee Airmen being honored as a general. You had the surprise return of one of the soldiers to his family. You had a fallen soldier's family being honored. You had the recipient of educational scholarship, the little African American girl. Okay, that was a beautiful thing. These stories had a lot of love, a lot of affection, a lot of appreciation for Americanism, the American dream, and people who serve our country. So how could you treat that like it was so terrible? If Trump, checkmated you by bringing in all those stories, and you were to sit there and think, I don't want to be cornered into honoring Trump by honoring these people, and you decide you're going to defy your own conscience and dishonor these people in your quest to throw dirt at Trump, you're broken.
Here tonight is a special man.
And the Democrats can see that the people leading their party are broken. You've heard the term Trump derangement syndrome. Well, this was it on full display. The desire to hurt Trump is so great that Democrats will harm other things, and they're completely blind to the secondary harms. Even if more important things are harmed in the pursuit of harming Trump, they can't calculate or can't even see those secondary or tertiary harms that are coming to the country or even to themselves. They are truly deranged by Trump's existence and his state of blessing and the fact that he's benefiting other people. They think that him benefiting other people is just, some kind of a trick to throw them off the trail of hurting him. Okay, so check this out. Everybody knows the story of Moses and the Israelites leaving Egypt. Ramses, he loses his son. There's a frog plague. The river got messed up. All these warning signs from God. And the dude is he could just taste punishing the Jews so bad, even though he's the one that got more punishment than he could ever dish out, because he got punished by the Almighty. But this guy turns around at the very end. He's like, go, he tells the Egyptians to go. And while they're on their way, he's enraged and filled with his pride and revenge, and he comes after them anyway with a bunch of warriors and chariots to come mow them down. and I'll show you, and all this kind of stuff. And he gets his entire army drowned in the Red Sea. So look at Nancy Pelosi coming after Trump so hard, and the entire Democrat Party is being drowned in the Red Sea because they didn't know how to stop pursuing a person who's obviously blessed by God to lead us into a healing after the Obama years and the anemic growth of the Obama years, right? So, if God loves this country, he's going to be working with anybody that can bring it from a lower state to a better state. And you fighting him, your arms are too short to box with God. That's what Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats are finding out, because God loves this country. And it's been said before that God set Donald Trump there because he has the right qualities. And this leads to my final point. What are those right qualities that God would look at Donald Trump and be like, yo, I got to work with this man. He has the right ingredients, the precisely right ingredients. Well, one thing that I think that Donald Trump has that is critical to God's plan, one thing that I would say that God sees in Donald Trump is that he is willing to retract a state of niceness when people don't deserve niceness. He refuses to be guilted into acting like bad players were just as good as everybody else when they were being bad. And a lot of times Christians are guilted into being quote-unquote loving by acting like a bad person was being just as good as everybody else all along, right? And a lot of Christians don't know how to sort through that, and they don't know that they have the power of judgment just by not having give and take with evil anymore. They can just say, hey, I'm not messing with you because I don't believe in what you're doing, and pull away. And the evil person who's doing bad has to deal with some measure of ostracism because good people are pulling away. But when good people are sort of forced by their own fake guilt, it winds up helping evil persist, and evil can't learn its lesson if good people are supporting it. So this is a big knot that the Christian world is in. And Christianity itself wants to learn what it looks like and how to survive once you said to an evil Jezebel, I'm not going to love you because you're being bad. I don't have to love you. And Donald Trump did exactly that in not returning a handshake to Nancy Pelosi. Even if Donald Trump mistakenly didn't shake her hand, because he didn't shake the vice president's hand either. But Nancy Pelosi persisted in a fury over him not giving her the handshake that she deserved. Evil people are so used to Christians being guilted into being nice to them, and guilted into not passing any measure of judgment, even the passiveness of ostracism. Evil people are so drunk on that benefit that they expect that it belongs to them. So I'm pretty sure that Nancy was mad, ripped up the State of the Union because she didn't get the handshake that she thought she deserved. And she didn't think that she deserved it for being nice or nasty. She thought that she deserved it because Trump must subscribe to some minimum level of decency. All right, so they say Adam fell with Eve in the same way, because if Adam didn't fall with Eve, if he didn't eat the fruit, she was going to chastise him like, what, something's wrong with the fruit? I ate it. What are you saying about me? So Adam then was like, okay, I'll eat it. I'm not trying to say you did something wrong, so I'll eat it too. So Adam was that kind of weak man. So God needs a man that, it doesn't matter if you a woman, if you wear a skirt, if you the owner of the vagina. It doesn't matter if you're the owner of an entire social network, okay? I don't need your social network. I don't need your vagina. I don't need your niceness. I don't need your attaboy. If you're a wicked woman, I don't want to have nothing to do with you. And God needs real men like that. And that's what's really going on with that State of the Union, the non-handshake, and that Jezebel is pissed.
Why did you rip the speech up, Madam Speaker?
Because it was the courteous thing to do, considering the alternatives.